What is going on, people? It's Matt from Liquid Loans. In this video, this live stream, a very special one for you. Got some legends from the PulseChain and Hex community. Today, we're debating, talking about the best and the possible worst strategies for the launch of mainnet. As we know, pretty much around the corner. It's pretty imminent by the looks of it. With no further ado, we're going to bring on Mr. Just Ask Jesse, Brandon from Rags to Riches, and of course, my favorite, Mr. Randy Clarkey. What is going on, gents?
Hello.
What's up, guys?
Good to see you all looking fresh. Brandon, what's going on over in your neck of the woods? Been cranking out the content, I see.
Hey, man, you know what? Nobody's going to do it for me. So we just got to do it. We got to get the word out. We got to let the world know. And I'm doing my small part to do that, man. So we're putting in work.
Sweet, sweet. And Randy, still living the Vida Loca down there in Panama?
Always, man. And always creating content. I've actually tweeted out yesterday about content creators, how people are saying, oh, you need to create this content. No, I fucking don't. I'm retired, bitch. I write what I want to write. I make what I want to make, and I'm enjoying this. I'm here for the glory, man. This is fun.
Yeah, I love non-content creators telling you what you should and shouldn't do. Yeah, it's really nice. Doesn't annoy you at all. I know. I know the feeling. Exactly. And Jesse, what's going on over in your neck of the woods, man?
Don't ask him any questions, Matt. Jesse doesn't need to answer.
My new favorite thing to say: 2 more weeks. to what? I don't know. Or when does that 2 weeks start? We're always 2 weeks away.
Exactly.
So we're getting close.
The treadmill
both
of 2 weeks.
To PulseChain and then a lot of cool things that'll be on PulseChain.
Exactly. Well, listen, guys, thanks for coming on. I appreciate your time. As we know, PulseChain seems imminent. It's no secret, it's pretty close. And thought it'd be really interesting to discuss some of the best, and worst strategies that people could do, right? When the mainnet goes live, it will be unpredictable. So let's start in alphabetical order. Brandon, what do you think would be, a good, or in your opinion, the best strategy to do when PulseChain goes live in maybe, less than 2 weeks?
Man, that's a loaded question, but I went over this recently here. I'm going to use the same strategy that I used after I nuked my account in the past. When I first got into crypto, you do all the wrong stuff, you nuke, then you have to relearn. So what I did in the past, I would take about 50% of my portfolio. It would be either an Ethereum or Bitcoin. In this case, it's going to be in PulseChain. It's going to be in the native coin. So I'm going to take 50% of my portfolio, put it in that. Take about 25% of my portfolio. I'm going to put it in PulseX, potentially Hex, and then I'm going to take 25% and split it up however the hell I want. Any type of meme coins that are high risk things, I will put 1 to 5% of my portfolio in those. So it's pretty much that 50, 25, 25. The rest of the 25 can be in whatever else you want. Now, with that said, it's very important to know that I need to be staked as much as possible, right? And here's why. There's going to be a lot of ghost dollars flying around. Everybody wants a piece of the hexagon pie. So they're going to be airdropping free money left and right if you're staked. So they want our community, all right? They want our money, so they're going to kiss our ass. So it's very important to be staked. So for new people out there, that's important. And then the final piece of this, I want to find ways to make yield. So very low risk ways to make yield. That's why I really like liquid loans, for example. And I'm not just saying that because you guys are on here. Guys, they threaten me in the green room. I have to say this. So the reason is, in Jesse, I talked about it with you. I talked about it with Hodbro. I really like Hodbro's strategy. I like being able to take my pulse, be able to mint 10% of my value, deposit it, deposit a pulse in USDL. I can add my USDL to the stability pool, and out of that, I can earn loan token. I can stake loan token to earn some type of yield. And then I could take the PLS that I made and redeposit it back in. And it's just a really cool loop, low risk way. The biggest thing that I would impress upon people is you have no need to take unnecessary risks. Just accumulate and don't nuke your account. That's where I'm at.
Nice. It sounds like you're hedging your bets, obviously, like you're not going all in on one, which is obviously a good thing, especially when there's so many shiny things out there. It's hard not to diversify yourself too much, but obviously you need to be diversified as well. You don't have all your eggs in one basket. So that sounds, like a good plan.
Absolutely.
Randy, you've been around the block in blockchains a few times. You've seen quite a few blockchains launch, stuff come and go. Obviously, we know how bullish you are on PulseChain. What do you think is a good strategy to see the early stages of the unpredictable days,
Well,
the first few days?
I'm not a sniper, right? I'm a guy I like to throw the grenade. So I throw the pin, I take the pin out, and I throw the grenade and see what survives or whatever. I think that as I'm not a maxi by any means. Obviously, the whole community knows this. I will invest in shitcoins galore. I have no problem with it. If I see a way to profit, I'm going to profit. I think that the opportunities that lay before us are gigantic. And like Brandon was saying, these airdrops are going to come to us. Guys, man, I got goosebumps thinking about it. I think I'm going to have $100,000 a year just in airdrops.
Yeah,
I really think that's happening.
Yeah.
If people have not experienced that yet, it's a good feeling to wake up. You're like, oh shit, I got $2,500 right here for free. Oh shit, I got $7,000 over here for free. It feels really good. And the Ethereum ecosystem knew what that felt like in 2020. And now PulseChain is going to know what that feels like. Just be ready for it. I say my primary is going to be PulseX. I have plenty of PulseChain, and I'll stake it. I'll put it on the validators, but I'm not going to play games with it. Listen, guys, don't play games with your Pulse. Let that sit and rot. Just forget about it. If you got some during the sacrifice phase, you have a blessing. You need to take those coins and forget about them, because if it does anything like Hex did, you're going to be very thankful for that. There's no reason to sell anymore. We've got liquid loans here, and dare I say it, fiat IO. So we've got two projects that are hooking us up to make sure that we never have to sell our coins. So whether it be Hex or Pulse or PulseX, and just be careful out there. The people that are going to try to get you to sell your Pulse to get into their ecosystems. There's just no need. No need.
Absolutely. I mean, yeah, again, going back to what you said about the airdrops, like every day there seems to be a new project, right, launching on PulseChain soon. So obviously that's exciting for the airdrops. But of course, like you said, the other side of that coin is going to be people trying to get their hands on your proven assets like Hex, like Pulse, like PulseX. So there's definitely going to be
have a portion of your wallet that's for fun.
Mm-hmm.
And invest in those, like Pulse Doge Win. I was investing that less when it was half a penny, and then buying that up, and I was just using money from other things that made money. I don't have just Hex. I have other things that make money for me. So I take profits and I buy Pulse Doge Win and prepare for this launch, because I think projects like that are going to do a 20 to 30x. I think liquid loans right out the gate could do a 20 to 30x, just like Len did, Aave, when I was when I wrote those articles for the team. So people just, I don't know how to say, be so cautionary. Just don't go in there with these open eyes thinking you're going to get rich overnight. Just stake your stuff and walk away for a while. Just walk away. You won't make any mistakes.
What are your thoughts on, and I'm sure I probably know, but it's good for people in the chat to hear, your one wallet, for meme coins, and another wallet for like assets like Hex and Pulse. So in case
it's not going to work if they're airdropped, right? Because they're going to airdrop to our Hex stakes and our Pulse sacrifices and PulseX sacrifices. I had a call the other day with a project that's doing property, like whole real property on the blockchain with NFTs and things like that, and they're going to launch on PulseChain. And they're asking me how to launch their project, and I was straightforward. I said, look, give everybody in Pulse and PulseX who sacked, give them an airdrop. That'd be a great thing. And just launch your token on the DEX. That's all you need to do. Mm-hmm. I mean, it's nothing against liquid loans doing a sack. I sacked with you guys. There's two different ways of doing things, but a project that's coming in and you got all these thousands of people that participated in the sack, just airdrop them. It's the easiest way to get things going. You'll have tons of liquidity, reward liquidity providers, and then go for it.
Awesome. And last but not least, obviously, Galaxy just asked Jesse, what are your thoughts on the early stages of mainnet, and how would you advise people to go about it so they capitalize?
Well, I always think it's really cringe when I hear people talk about selling already, whether that's their PulseX or their Pulse. It's like, if you look at any other chain, like day one of the chain, like people are still accumulating. Like you see Matic did a 450x, ETH did a 10,000x or whatever it was, 14,000x, Bitcoin. The people who were selling in the first days or weeks or months like they highly regret that they did that. They wish they would have just kept on buying. Now, if you're lucky enough to have gotten in on the sacrifice, that doesn't mean that you should just immediately dump all your coins as soon as you see a 2x or a 4x. Because if you think that a 4x or something is like the end, the chain is done for. But like this thing has real potential to do hundreds and thousands of X, just like the rest of the chains do. So put yourself in the mindset of just keep on accumulating. Staking platforms help with that because you can earn yield and sell other things. PulseX, I love the idea of PulseX. Put in your PulseX, single-sided stake it, never sell it, get other tokens from other projects that are giving away their tokens for free to these staking pools, and then either keep those or dump those or swap those, whatever you want to do with those. But that thing that could appreciate like Cake did, like 190,000x or something, keep that and never sell it. Liquid Loans does the same thing. You could do the same with Pulse, using validators, a combination of that and Liquid Loans or Fiat IO. There's just so many ways to not sell the coins that are likely to appreciate the most.
I mean, yeah, as we know, right? You just look back through history and we know people that sold Bitcoin or Ethereum earlier are probably on suicide watch, right? People had thousands of Bitcoin and Ethereum, and now they're looking at that at $3,000 a pop, $4,000 at some point, $30,000, $69,000. So, I mean, I think we're all in agreement across the board that a 2, a 4, even a 10x, 100x is still nothing from where it could go.
I mean, that's how I felt. Even though I hate XRP, I had millions of XRP back when it was under a penny, and I sold it all on like a 5x or something like that. Oops,
So obviously people will do that. We know, obviously there's a lot of hexagons, a lot of pulsicons who have that delayed gratification, but some people obviously are going to sell too early. What's other things? What's another thing, Brandon, you think that mistakes people are going to make along with maybe selling too early or just, just not doing the right thing at the beginning of the launch?
Yeah. So the thing that I know that's going to happen with PulseChain, you don't have the ability to lock up your pulse per se without massive penalty like you do with Hex. The penalty portion of Hex, I think, is the most important feature of Hex, right? And it's because it makes you think twice. Everything is based on pain and pleasure. So the problem with PulseChain is that get PulseChain out of your hands as soon as you possibly can, lock it up somehow. So at least you're going to have to take actions to be able to get that out. And it's going to give you the opportunity to think twice about it. And, if you're getting out of debt, one of the cool things that people say is like, take your credit card, put it in a Tupperware container full of water and put it in your freezer. Well, why do you do that? Because you got to thaw that credit card out before you use it. And it gives you plenty of time to think about it. And that's the same way with PulseChain, I think. So I think that it's our responsibility as people who are in the space that people kind of look up to is just to impress upon them, like, don't do anything. Don't sell. Don't worry about the 2x, 5x. You sell at a 2x, you're throwing away a 5,000x. You put $50 of Pulse in. Is it really $50? No, it's really $50,000, or it's really $500,000 when it 1,000x's or when it 10,000x's. So we just have to have that message constantly. And if we can get that really tight, we can get people on board with that idea. And we already have a lot of people from Hexaco that are conditioned to think that way, but we're going to have a huge influx of folks now. If we can do that, we can just win better, win more efficiently. We can be a force multiplier for price appreciation. So just be careful not to drop your stuff, guys.
Yeah, you're right. I mean, Hex does save people from themselves. And it's kind of like the same with anything, right? Like if you want to get in shape and you say, oh, the chocolate's in the cupboard, I'm not going to touch it, right? But it's there, right? Like it's better not to have it in the house at all, right? Because after dinner and you're getting a bit peckish, what are you going to do? You're going to go in the kitchen. So put some friction between you and that thing. And obviously with Hex, you can lock it up. So, I think it's good to keep reminding people again and again, look at what people have done in 2 years with Hex and with other cryptocurrencies by delaying that gratification. And I think, every content creator and anyone who's been around the ecosystem for a while, I think that's their, job to keep relaying that message to people. What about you, Randy? What do you think people are going to be doing in a negative way when the chain goes live?
They're going to try to play the choppiness of the first couple of days of trading. That's what traders do. I've done it. I was there. I mean, I made a killing when Bitcoin Cash launched. That day was the best day, my best day in crypto. I was trading the crap out of that. I made a lot of money. All right. But this one, I'm not going to participate. I think the Ethereum boys and the PulseChain boys are a lot more knowledgeable than we were back in 2017. These people are a lot more skilled, and I am not skilled when it comes to live trading. So I'm not going to participate in that game. I recommend everyone just set your coins, put them up in the validators and just forget about them. Okay, so some of you don't have any PulseChain, you need to get some. Well, I think we need to talk about that. What if you only have PulseX? I think some people are going to sell their PulseX or PulseChain, and I'm not going to fault you for doing that. But the other option is just buy Hex now and use that Hex to buy Pulse. People are saying, oh, P-Hex is going to rock it. Well, I think some people are going to buy PulseX or Hex in order to sell it for Pulse on day one as well. So there's a lot of people that really want PulseChain, and it's going to be an inferno. I don't know what the price is going to be at the end of day one, but it could be up 50x in the first day. Just don't fall into the trap of selling right away. You know what wouldn't be a bad thing? Take out your initial investment. If you want to take something out, take out your initial investment, let the rest ride. That doesn't hurt anybody.
A feeding frenzy, aren't we? Definitely in the first few hours or days for sure. Jesse, what are your thoughts to this question? What if you're new? What's the best strategy to get some Pulse, get your hands on some PLS?
Well, you could use liquid loans and just have a never-ending supply coming your way, right? There's ways to do that inside of liquid loans. If you can buy some on the open market and stake it with a validator, you also will have a never-ending, supply trickling your way. You could liquidity provide. Somebody in the chat asked, if it's a good idea to be a liquidity provider. If you know what you're doing, it could be. You have to be very careful, right? Because now we have a bunch of copied coins, which aren't quite the same as bridged in coins. So let me give an example of a safe play that a new person could try. Let's say you want to get into liquidity providing and you're scared about impermanent loss, which is where you accumulate, you have two tokens you put into a pool and you gain more of one and less of the other, but then it drops in value, so you actually have a loss. Well, at least one of your coins is affected. Well, if that scares you, you could just be a liquidity provider for two stable.
Jesse, can you get the microphone a bit close to your mouth? I think.
Yeah. So you could, as a safe play, be a liquidity provider of two stable coins. So, example, bridged in DAI paired to bridged in USDC. Okay, people are always going to swap between the two, and the risk of impermanent loss is negated because they're always worth $1 for the most part. But you're always accumulating more of them. Every time somebody trades and swaps between those two stable coins, you earn a little bit of those stable coins for yourself, right? And then so you're not worried about the speculative value of one of those two things going down because they're always worth $1. All right. So if you're going to get into liquidity providing as a new person, start with stable coins just to get an idea of what it's like. Let me caveat that by saying the copied in things, the forked assets, they don't retain their value the way stuff that on ETH does. So you may have heard some people say, hey, it's a good idea to pair a PulseChain copied asset to a bridged in asset. We can go through some examples where that's just a horrible idea. Link. Hex might be an exception to that, but if we took Link that's been copied by Richard Hart, and it's just a photocopied link that's on the PulseChain, but the infrastructure is not there, the nodes, the community, the things that actually make it work and print more of them, the front end, all that stuff is not there. There's no real reason for people to hold on to the copied link. So if you were to bridge link in and then pair bridge link to copied link, you may have whales that hold link that just see that as an opportunity to dump their copies that to them is worthless because the infrastructure isn't there, to dump all their copies into your pool, leaving you with a whole bunch of those copies that are now going towards zero in value. And they literally take from you your bridged in link, and they just got a lot of value from you. You became their exit liquidity. So you have to be very careful in considering, are you going to pair a copied thing to a bridged in thing? Be very, very careful. Hex may work simply because the infrastructure is there on both chains, but not all tokens have the infrastructure behind them and are likely to go to zero. Stablecoins included that have been copied over.
Randy, what's your thoughts on liquidity providing? Because I've seen you mention it a few times. I think you said, you have to be a bit careful about it. So what are your thoughts for newbies or people that haven't done much of that, trying this on the new chain?
I don't recommend it. I don't recommend it for anybody that's new. This is something that people that have deep pockets who are willing to take a little bit more risk, you get the rewards for that, the incentive tokens and all those things like that. If you want to, I've never heard of doing stablecoin to stablecoin. That's genius, Jesse. If you want to dabble, there you go. Dabble in the stable coins, but I would not recommend it. Some projects out there will incentivize you providing some liquidity, and I've done it in the past, and I've gotten rewards for doing that. Now, that was cool, but if there's no reward, stay far away.
Gotcha. Brandon, I'm not sure if you've seen on Twitter, I've seen a few people talking about making comments like, I've turned $20,000 on the testnet into like 4 or 5 million already. And I think a lot of people are thinking this is going to be, the same on the mainnet. What are your thoughts on stuff like that? Have you seen anyone say that on Twitter?
Well, when you go to war, you can't respawn if you die. So that's what I would say about that. So yeah, the testnet, that's what it's there for. It's for people to kind of play around and stretch things out and really push the limits. It's not going to necessarily. This is a different game. That's for practice, and this is for real play. And you don't want to nuke yourself. Do not want to nuke yourself. And then I wanted to add this too for people who see liquidity providing is a really, really daunting thing. It can be a daunting thing, but I also encourage people to take very, 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 very small amounts of money and take this opportunity to learn. Maybe provide some pairs, buy some up, and just so you can learn and understand, because the more that you know now, the more fit that you're going to be in the future. So I certainly don't expect people to use this and rely on this to make massive amounts of money, but play around with it for your own knowledge. I think that spending money to learn it might be worth it in the long run for you.
Gotcha. Yeah, I mean, Randy, obviously doing is a good way to learn. Sorry, Jesse.
Randy, I've got a question for you. I think you've been around crypto the longest in this panel.
That's embarrassing too. Shit, I'm old.
So you remember Cake, and they came out with single-sided staking, which I thought was genius on their part. Okay, you can now put your Cake in and get other tokens, but you've got all these protocols that had to put their tokens up in there. They wanted exposure. They said, "Oh, we'll supply a bunch of tokens that people can get for free." But they had the benefit of having Binance Smart Chain with millions of users. Dozens and dozens of protocols launched daily over there on Binance. And we don't have that quite yet. So at the beginning, how long do you think it'll take, or what do you think it's going to look like before we have some really good single-sided staking pools in PulseX?
Well, I'll tell you how it's going to go, because I can look at Tron. Tron's going to be the perfect example for us, even though Tron had a ghost chain when they launched. And it took them a good year and a half before the project started rolling in. I don't think we have to wait a year and a half. The reason is why, because we did the sacrifice last July and August, and there's already projects that are already building and getting ready to launch on PulseChain. So we have the snowball already rolling downhill, whereas Tron they did their ICO, they forked Ethereum, and they launched all within a month period. It was like boom, boom, boom. And then it was ghost chain for months. We don't have that problem. We got Liquid Loans here. We got Fiat.io. We got Mintra. We got all these projects that are forks of good projects that are on Ethereum, so quality. Those will be our top tiers, right? And then you got these new projects that are building that are coming that are just going to be native to PulseChain. They're not going to be on other networks, and they're already building these. This is happening right now behind the scenes. I've had 2 projects just this week contact me. They want me to help consult and all that kind of stuff. It is happening. So we're going to be rolling good before we even launch. And like I said, Tron did 100x in the first 90 days. If they could do 100x on a ghost chain, what can we do? And we get and the war chest that we have as far as hexagons is ridiculous. And the hexagons are the backbone of the PulseChain community. And I would say that overall, we're one of the wealthiest communities in crypto.
Nice.
If not the wealthiest.
Yeah.
Or if not the, yeah.
I've always said, going back months ago, just comparing to other chains, I've always said I believe that PulseChain can do a 250x in 90 days. And people thought I was crazy. And I still believe that that's possible. Now, to all the listeners and watchers, that doesn't mean go sell it at 250x or 200x. It just means just watch. I do think this thing is going to explode.
It's going to be nuts. I've been through this. I did I was part of the Bitcoin private fork of Z Classic when we did 130x in a 1 month period and up into the fork. And, this is not my first rodeo. And this one, we just have so much more momentum behind us. And like I said, the war chest, these guys didn't have war chests. We got a freaking war chest. This and the people, like, every one of us making content. How many of us are out there now? A couple hundred? They don't have that.
It's a full-time job watching Hex and PulseChain content. Never mind making it. Never mind making the content. Just watching it and consuming it as a full-time, even on 2x speed. And I wanted to bring up this comment here, Deltra Troska 125. I'm seeing comments like this all the time on my content. I'm sure you guys are seeing it on your content as well. Like, I missed and I need to buy, or how do I buy? Are you guys seeing stuff like this?
A lot of people don't have PulseChain. That's what I'm seeing. Lots of people.
My Ethereum whale friend, who he's driving his Ferrari 458 around the city right now, probably that's what he does all day. We were having dinner one night, and he's like, "Randy, how do I get in this PulseChain?" I said, "Well, you missed the sacrifice. You could sacrifice for PulseX right now." So the next time we met, he's like, "Oh, I sacked. I have PulseChain now." I said, "No, bro, you don't. You have PulseX." I said, "You're going to get a little bit of a pulse for having that Ethereum that you have in your wallet, but you're not getting any PulseChain." I said, "You could sell some of your PulseX for Pulse," and that's what he's likely to do. So there's a lot of people that these people are smart. They've been in crypto forever, and he still didn't understand when I was telling him that he had to sacrifice, and he missed out on the PulseChain one, and he got into PulseX. He still thinks he had PulseChain. So,
it's just interesting to see how many wallets sacked for PulseChain versus PulseX, right?
And here's the thing too, like if you have regrets, if you didn't go in as hard as you wanted to, there's a wallet sacrifice coming up too. So that's kind of cool. It's like, how many opportunities this dude gonna give us not to be dumb? All right. So here's the other really, really important thing I want to make a point about. I think we are absolutely blessed to be launching this thing in a bear market.
Yep.
And I think we're blessed because we're just going to absolutely take off. We're going to absolutely tear. Absolutely. It's just going to be a steady burn to the upside for 12 or 18 months, I think.
What are you guys' thoughts on actual time frame? Are we still looking, in maybe 10 days or so? Yeah, everyone's still up in the air. Jesse?
Yeah, who knows?
Every day that goes by, though, and he doesn't say anything, Richard doesn't say anything, it seems like, because every day I'll check Twitter, and no, nothing from him yet, right? So
2 weeks. I mean, it was 2 months, and it was 1 month, and it's 2 weeks. We're getting there, guys.
Yeah,
we're getting there.
Exactly.
That tweet that he sent out, that was, if we really want to look into things, that was encouraging. Like, hey guys, hint, tell your friends and family to make sure once and for all your SAC balances are checked. All right, guys.
Yeah.
So that was encouraging.
Shot across the bow.
It means,
also,
everybody needs to be getting ready. If you happen to have crypto in other places, maybe even other blockchains. Listen, I'm not a maxi either. I had some Cardano. I moved it over to, I sold it, okay, and I moved it over to ERC20s that I'm holding. When the chain goes live, those ERC20s are going to get sold. They're going to get swapped for Pulse or PulseX. And then, what I had on the Ethereum chain, maybe I'll bridge some of that in after the bridge. Maybe I'll send it back to whatever blockchain it came from, Cardano or Phantom or Avalanche or wherever, and recapture my original positions. You may choose to do this, right? You are going to get free copies of all your tokens. Who knows what the rate's going to be like, but you will be able to swap things for other things on the chain. So now's the time to stack up all your ERC20s in your MetaMask wallet and be ready to swap them.
I mean, there's definitely people talking about it.
Or do like I did and I'm just liquidating all of my ERC20s and putting them in Hex, just preparing. And then I could buy them back, like Jesse said, afterwards, after the fork, I could buy them back with hopefully a small amount more value. I'm hoping that we accrue more value on the other side. If we don't, then okay, shame on me, but I'm pretty sure we will.
I think there's going to be, I find this interesting, really, really smart dudes on this stream right now. And when we're talking about our strategies, nobody mentioned this catchphrase that's been going on around right now, which is ratio trading pre-bridge. I'm telling all my people to steer clear of it. Now, first and foremost, I know that there are going to be people that make a lot of money, but if I even talk about it with the people that I'm working with in my group, I don't want them to nuke their account. And that's an incredible opportunity to screw yourself. So, if you
what is it, Brent? I don't even know what that is.
So pre-bridge, when the fixer bot goes in and they bring all of these ERC20s over, or you get airdropped, etc. There's not going to be any actual value. There's just going to be, everything's going to be ratioed against each other. So some people think, hey, if it's a 4-to-1 ratio pre-bridge before Ethereum starts coming in to set these prices, I might be able to just swap X for X and really crush it. But you don't know what the price of those assets are going to be after the bridge, so you could actually really wreck yourself. So I'm just telling people, like, I'm not going to endorse it. I'm not going to talk about it. If you want to go down that road, you can. I know people will make a lot of money, but people are going to get really hurt with it too. That's how I feel about it.
Don't play games you don't understand, guys.
Jesse, what are your thoughts on pre-bridge, the pre-bridge time?
I think so. I heard Randy say he's buying up Hex or whatever, and maybe I don't know if you'll swap some of that for other things you like or whatnot. But I have heard a lot of people who bought PulseX, who missed the PulseChain sacrifice, say that they're going to swap their PulseX for Pulse. So this is an example of where people could get very wrecked. So slippage still applies. You still have two tokens that are paired to each other, and you have to put in, one side and extract from the other side in this PulseX pool. And each time you do that, you're going to eat a little bit of slippage. So maybe your swap, it's like 0.3% slippage, but the next guy, he's a bigger guy. He has a 0.5% slippage. And then the third guy that does it, he's got a fraction of, percent of slippage. Well, if you have thousands of people doing it, they're all slipping the ratio really, really bad. So if you have thousands of people dumping PulseX, the rate that people are able to pick up after the first 50 people swap, it's going to be so horrendous. And the bad thing is they're not even going to know the price that they're getting it at.
Right.
All they're going to they're just going to see, oh, I swapped this many PulseX, I get this many Pulse, but it could come down to I have to put in 1,000 PulseX and it says it's going to give me 5 Pulse or something. It's going to be horrendous if thousands of people are all doing that. So be careful with that ratio trading. Slippage still applies, and the price, or not the price, because you won't know the dollar value, but the value comparatively to each other could be a really bad rate if lots of other people are swapping the same token that you are. Yeah. Now, when I said earlier, I'm holding random ERC20s right now that are relatively stable. They have lots of liquidity. And I don't think a whole lot of hexagons and pulsecons are paying attention to these particular ERC20s. But the fixer bot is still going to buy those up out of Uniswap and then redeploy them into PulseX. And there will be a way for me to swap those for Pulse. And I may be the only person dumping those ERC20s or PRC20s at that point for Pulse. So the rate that I'm going to get is going to be way better than the thousands of people who are all dumping their PulseX together as a big group.
Food for thought, for sure. Let's change gears a bit, because this is an interesting question. This guy's saying he's not hearing a lot of crypto channels talking about PulseChain. It's only kind of going around the Hex community. Are they holding back? Do you think that once PulseChain comes out, that these other crypto influencers are going to start talking about it because they're holding bags, they sacked?
Absolutely.
Oh, without a doubt.
Yeah.
Now, and why is it? The reason is because the whole market is burning right now. And these crypto influencers have to find a way to keep traffic coming.
Only clickbait in town.
Dude, they got to look like a god to all their followers. So if they come out and they say, hey, this layer 1 just launched, boom, get in now, 1,000x, 10,000x, it's going to make them look incredible. Not only that, they say, oh yeah, by the way, change some settings in your MetaMask, 1 million followers, and here's free money. It's going to make them look awesome. So yeah, absolutely, it's going to pop off.
Yeah. I mean,
said, guys, the snowball's rolling downhill already. We haven't even begun.
And I'm pretty active on Twitter. I'm active in Twitter Spaces. I am noticing, and Matt, I know you are too. You're really keen on this stuff. I'm noticing more and more people outside of the Hex community right now starting to ask questions in a non violent or threatening way, confrontational way. So I'm actually feeling a lot better. I'm seeing much more of it. In fact, I really am.
Who's that big account? Is it Whale Chart or something? He's been tweeting a lot about Hex and PulseChain.
Yeah, Whale Chart has. He's got like 110,000, I think.
And every day he's tweeting multiple times. I see about PulseChain, Hex. It's like he's become like a hexagon overnight by the looks of it, which is kind of crazy.
Well, here's the thing to remember too. We talked about this earlier. Remember, Randy, I was talking about the ghost money. Your staked Hex, you're going to get airdrop money, $100,000 a year. You're going to make whatever. Well, as we gain popularity, I think that the Hexagon community, because of what we stand for and the stability that we provide projects, I think that you're going to see more and more people try to moonlight as Hexagons. You just got to be careful about that. You're going to see people changing everything in their profile to Hexagon, where they bashed us before this and that. And that's okay. That's awesome. Just be very aware of who the people were. Remember who the people were before this all took off. And really focus on those guys because they steered you right.
I just want to say something about that, though. I don't know if you did you see the video Silver the Antidote did today about Hex Token? Yeah. Hex Token is he is the most friendly guy I've ever met. He's like Crypto Heartbeat. He's another Crypto Heartbeat, just Australian version, right? So Silver the Antidote did a bashing video about him today because back in the day, Hex Token also had a channel called Axion Token, which was one of the copycats of Hex. Look, I own a shit ton of Axion, and I still have my Axion because it's all staked 15 years. I'm not even worried about it. But he was one of the people I used to go to listen to, and he's always been super friendly, and he's always been a Hexagon. He's an early day Hexagon. There's a lot of people in Hex that are also Axion folks. So it makes no sense to me to go and take baseball bat to the kneecaps of some of the most friendly people in our community when they're out there every day making 2 to 3 videos a day talking about the benefits of PulseChain, because you got to be accepting, folks. I mean, you got to get rid of that maxi mentality. What you can do, though, is have the protection mentality. When you sense garbage, just ignore it. Tune down the volume. You can turn your volume down. You don't have to hear it all. Just go out there and find the good stuff and promote the good stuff. The bad stuff will start to smell after a while. Believe me, it will. PulseChain is not going to be any different than Ethereum or BSC or anything like that. Those crappy projects, you're going to see them come. They're going to come and go, and they're going to have all this flashy like artwork and all this kind of stuff. They're going to try to get you to spend your money. Look, guys like Hex Token weren't one of those people. He's just been here for the whole ride, and he's just promoting projects that he cares about. So,
and he's a nice guy. And listen, he's not out to wreck people. He
No,
literally does unbiased opinions on all these protocols. Some of them will work, some of them will not. Some of them people will make a lot of money in. Some of them people will say, "Oh, that went to zero." You can't fault an influencer, especially one that says, "Hey, by the way, do your own research."
Yeah.
But this is what I know about it. You can't like you said, you can't cut his kneecaps out for being a nice guy and doing a lot of that research for you and then telling you about a protocol. So
Hex Token is my top 2 favorite streamers in the Hex ecosystem. Just to let you guys know. In chat,
I didn't know. I had no idea you liked him. I mean,
I follow him constantly. Dude. I love that.
He's been so nice to me over the years. I'm like,
but he's so thorough too, man. I mean, he keeps. I like his charts because he keeps a timeline on his charts, and he says this happened and this. He's just so thorough. I love it. And he's like an Energizer bunny, dude. He just doesn't stop.
Just creates. We need people like that in our ecosystem.
He was one of the first, I think, when when the sacrifice phase was about to go live for PulseChain, he was like streaming twice a day at that time, and I came across him, and you can tell after you watch someone for a while, you can tell the people's masks slip, right? And I want to go back to what you said, Randy, reiterating, it's kind of like being streetwise, right? You've been around blockchain for a while and crypto. After a while, you smell what smells bad and what doesn't, right? You can see it, you can see projects that seem a bit dodgy, and I guess what I want to reiterate is everyone has to learn that in life, right? You live in a dodgy area. After a while, you're going to learn what places you can go after dark, what places you can't. Maybe take the long way around. It's the same with anything in life. You need to take responsibility for yourself, and mistakes love a rush decision in life. And crypto, there's so much FOMO out there, and listen, we've all been guilty of it. I've lost money doing it too, right? You rush in and suddenly your money is gone. But just work on your intuition, look, learn, and it's very easy to pull people down, but it's hard to create content and go out there and put yourself out there and be someone, a voice and face. So maybe a bit more humility would go a long way.
Yeah, I learned my lesson back in 2017. I was getting paid. Companies would come in and we would launch their projects for them and raise money, and a lot of them were crappy projects, and I ended up only earning a small fraction of what I was supposed to just because the projects went to zero really quick, and I was getting paid in tokens, and I was paying other people. Like there's plenty of people in the crypto community that very well that I was helping these projects pay $10,000-$15,000 a month just to mention them on a live stream or mention them on a video, and I felt guilty about my late 2017 dealings, and I'm never going to do that again. So live and learn, man.
I'd like to say something. So, Hex Token's a good guy. I want to go back to that. Okay. So, do your own research on these influencers. So, the influencer who called him out, I do remember back towards the beginning of the PulseChain main chat, we had myself, we had Walrus, we had Ian B, we had tons of people. We even had Funding Jim. We had all sorts of guys who were giving free education to all the new people who wanted to learn about PulseChain. And then, meanwhile, Silver the Antidote would give out little tiny clips and then say, by the way, sign up if you want to learn about PulseChain and pay me. And I will tell you about PulseChain because I'm so smart that you must pay me. Meanwhile, you had tons of people just giving away all the information for free because that's what we do as a community. So when you hear negativity from somebody, do your own research on that person.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely.
Gotcha. So
I was just so disappointed. I just saw that today, and that really it felt heavy on me. I was like, man, why are people doing this? You don't have to do this. Our community is great. It really is.
I'm going to be honest. I fell for the clickbait because I saw the tweet, and it was like exposing this evil entity in the Hex community, and I was like, oh, obviously, if it bleeds, it leads, right? So you want to see it, and I watched it, and I was like, what? This guy Hex Token? He's like the nicest guy ever. So yeah, I was like, I wasted like 8 minutes watching a video.
Exactly.
Well, chat, let's get in those comments on that video and change the narrative. How about that?
Yeah.
Yeah, Silver Antidote definitely has a paid group.
But let's shift it into a positive, on a positive note. And, you know, obviously there's rumors and rumblings of PulseChain going on a centralized exchange quite soon. What are your guys' thoughts on that? Any more thoughts on what exchange or how long it would be until PLS is on a centralized exchange?
I hope it never happens. I got used to this whole hex thing where we're not on regular exchanges. I love it that we're just on dexes. It's just a different way of looking at crypto, and it's really freed me up. And I don't have to do the KYC anymore or anything like that. I'm spoiled now.
It does seem like a pathway to destruction in a way. There's so many negative variables to be involved with centralized exchanges in terms of how they might try to manipulate things and take things over. I don't like that aspect. The question that I have for you guys actually is, I've asked this question before. These wallets that these centralized exchanges hold, are the devs able to see that they're associated with those centralized exchanges, and will they get copies? Because if they get copies, will they then pair them with their ERC friends? So I'm kind of curious about that.
Richard already has made comments that he already knows which exchanges have sacked. You could tell by just based on the chainalysis.
Cool. So,
but like the entire system state's being copied, right? So Coinbase with all their ERC20 wallet, their Ethereum-based EVM wallets, they're going to have copies. KuCoin and Binance, they're all going to get copies as well. That I don't think PulseChain is discriminating because these wallets are big, and like they're just cutting the supply and making that supply of tokens disappear off the market, because no, that just wouldn't be right. Now, what are those exchanges going to do with them? That's the question. Are they going to, come and dump them? Are they going to eventually say, "Hey, let's allow tradability of these on our exchange"? Nobody really knows.
We know they're not going to give them to their people. That's who own them, I guess.
History repeats.
Yeah. I mean,
go ahead.
No, sorry. I was just going to say just one more thing about the exchanges. Obviously, the age-old kind of like thing about that is, oh, great, it's going to be good for adoption. But I side with Randy. I like using dexes, right? I like using my Trezor and a dex and bang, doing my own thing. But obviously, for adoption, it could help. Obviously, easier for people to buy. But then it's not, not your keys, not your crypto, so it's not really a good onboarding experience.
Ever since MetaMask brought in the swap feature, there's really no other reason to have exchanges anymore. And if the new wallet that Richard's going to build, that one I'm pretty sure is going to have a swap feature for PulseX built right into it, or whatever it does. Going across all the major exchanges that are going to be in the community and the bridges across and all that. I'm pretty sure that they will make an amazing wallet. Even Aurochs, just the company I work for Aurochs, guys. Let me tell you, I work for Aurochs, okay? But they're building their wallet's about to launch, and it's a MetaMask killer. And I just can't wait to play with it. I want to see how it works. And I hope Richard builds something even better.
Well, you have to have institutions. By the way, there's a couple different types of exchanges. There's gateway exchanges that are just there for on-ramping people into DeFi. In fact, Coinbase would be considered one of those, with all their education tools, with how DeFi wallets work and holding your own crypto. And it's a little wonky to like swap and trade around on Coinbase. They're really there. They do serve a purpose. It's an institution that has all the licenses in place and the banking partners in place to accept fiat. You have to have that. Like, you have to have banks that can legally take your fiat and then give you some crypto. And then it's on you to send that to your own private wallet from there. There's some places that make it really easy and automate some of that process, like Trust Token. You can just simply wire to their platform, and voila, within a half a day, some tokens magically appear in your MetaMask wallet. Okay, and then there's places like Coinbase where, okay, they have custody and you've got to send it out. Those are very different sorts of exchanges, and those are necessary exchanges. Those are very different than leveraged trading platforms like KuCoin, where you actually can't even use your bank account and just buy and send in to KuCoin. You have to send your coins to them. They take control of all your coins, and then they become the house, the casino, and they wreck everybody with the scam wicks and the cascading liquidations like multiple times a day. Those are very different types of exchanges. Those are trading exchanges to wreck everybody. But then you have the gateways like Coinbase and Trust Token and even Crypto.com that are there to help on-ramp people from fiat money into crypto.
Yep. Someone just mentioned SimpleSwap as well. I love SimpleSwap for getting things in and out in between different blockchains. It works really good. I know it didn't match up with what you were saying, Jesse, but someone just mentioned it in the chat.
Cool.
Mm-hmm. I see that. I'm gonna check that out. I want to answer this question from Saint Duke. We're not trying. We are.
What's Saint Duke?
Liquid Loans and the USDL coin is the premier stablecoin on the PulseChain. So, for example, anything else that you find on PulseChain is going to be bridged in. It's going to be owned by Circle or by Tether. It's going to be bridged in from the ETH chain or wherever. There's only one protocol so far on the PulseChain that literally the community mints a stablecoin off of their own existing holdings, and that's Liquid Loans. So it's already the premier stablecoin.
Beautiful.
So guys, we've been nearly going for an hour, and I really appreciate your time. Before we do wrap up, I want to get one bit of advice for everyone on day one. Obviously, we might overlap, but we'll start with you, Brandon. What is your number one bit of advice for everyone on the first day of PulseChain mainnet launch?
The first day, my number one bit of advice is do not trust anything that you see on Twitter or anything on Telegram unless it's coming from a source that you've been following a very long time, because there will be millions and millions and millions and millions of dollars lost on day one, unfortunately, on PulseChain, because people will be getting scammed left and right. So latch on to the people that you trust. Latch on to Richard Hart. He'll be tweeting these things, and just make sure that you check, double check, triple check. Very, very important.
Very, very important. Randy, what about yourself?
You ready, guys? It's coming. I don't have much besides what I've said over and over again. It's just buy that hex, prepare it, get ready to stake it on the other side, or Maxi if you want to do that. Maxi is another great one to get a hold of, because you're just going to get a copy on the other side. Don't play any games. If you had the blessing of being able to sacrifice for Pulse and for PulseX, just sit on them. Don't try to play games on the first day. You will get wrecked. Like Jesse said, when slippage happens, you got 5,000 people all getting slippage at the same time. You're going to get slipped. There's nothing you can do.
What about you, Jesse? What's your number one bit of advice for everyone, whether you're a seasoned vet or a newbie?
Just like we all have done with Hex, put your mind towards earning yield. We're already able to do it with Hex, but now you need to look for ways to earn yield off your Pulse, off your PulseX, off of all your other tokens in the ecosystem. There's so many different ways now where you can just park things and then get free things forever.
Great advice.
Forever. You guys like these airdrops? Oh boy, here they come.
Every time Randy comes on, people get so excited because he just tells everyone the alpha on all this stuff, the airdrops and the.
Dude, whenever somebody says Randy, I just have an image in my head of some dude in lukewarm Bahama water with a selfie stick and swimming with pigs for some reason. Is that normal?
That's what I said, man. Living the vida loca down there.
Yeah, someone said I need to do a rooftop musing today. I'm like, man, I got this live stream. Now I got cabanas right after this. I'm like I'll be exhausted. No thanks.
I want to make this announcement real quick too. If you guys are interested in a Twitter space that you would feel comfortable inviting your grandmother to, I started the PulseChain.com Twitter space today, It's going to be for adults only. And if we have any shenanigans, we kick you out. It's going to be a place where people can learn about it and a place where people can feel comfortable asking questions. So I just wanted to put that out. If you guys see that at the top of your Twitter feed, it'll be pulsechain.com every time. Thanks.
I jumped in there today, and it's a good vibe in there, guys. So definitely, if you see that live, jump in there, ask questions, help educate other people. If they're asking questions that you think aren't, very clever, then be nice to them. We want to onboard people to PulseChain. So positivity goes a long way. Being negative just repels people. Before I let you guys go, where can we find out more about you, Brandon? I know you hate subscribers and you hate followers, but let's tell them anyway.
Just go to ragstrichessquad.com. Do not like, do not comment, do not subscribe. Thank you.
Randy, what about yourself?
Randy Hilarski everywhere. It's the most simple. I've had the same accounts for years, so I'm everywhere.
And Jesse?
Well, obviously Liquid Loans and all the channels in the description here, but also my own Twitter. Just ask Jesse on Twitter.
Awesome, gents. I appreciate your time. Thank you so much for coming on today, and I hope to see you back on the channel soon, and hopefully mainnet will be launched by then, and we'll be talking about moon math for real and how the charts are going up and to the right. So do take care, and I'll speak to you guys soon.
Thanks, buddy.
All right. Cheers, guys.
Awesome. Oh, wrong person. Back to me. What a bunch of legends, guys. And to finish that off, what did Brandon say? Don't try and get, be careful on day one. Randy said, don't try and get too cute. And Jesse said, find ways to make yield and make your fat stacks grow. If you like videos like this, guys, do hit that subscribe button and that bell icon so you're notified every time we drop new videos and content on the channel. You can also tap the like button, share the video with someone who you think it may benefit. And if you're watching the playback, drop a little cheeky comment below for the algo. It does help us out. Thanks for watching. Have a great weekend, everyone. And I will see you on the next one. Peace.